Green Bay on its own is a big-time game. Add the Favre saga. You have as highly anticipated an NFL game as you could ever get.
The Packers choose to spread him out here on 2nd and 11.
Rodgers, a little check down to Grant, and the running back has the game's first down. 2nd and 18. Quick dump to Donald Lee, the tight end, hurdling across the 40, and a couple of yards shy of the first down. Pressure comes from Williams. It was picked up, and Rodgers throws complete to Greg Jennings. First down. In the seam, caught by Jermichael Finley, the tight end, to the 25. Great opening drive, a first down toss, nobody open. Jared Allen forced it out, recovered by the Vikings, Brian Robinson. Minnesota ball. And Favre from the offense will get going, and, well, I guess, guys, that surreal moment has arrived. For the first time, Brett Favre and the Green Bay Packers on the same field, but on different sides. And a ton of flashbulbs going off like it's the opening kickoff of the Super Bowl. Peterson to the left. Gain of 7 out of bounds. First throw. Caught. There he is. Peterson's run at 7 of these 11 plays. Favre. Touchdown. Shenko. Third and 5, the Vikings bring 5. And Rodgers throws downfield for Finley, who made a great move in the open field. And Jermichael Finley takes it to the end zone and in. Touchdown, Green Bay, 62 yards.
Watch the movement. Moves to his right. Finds Finley down the field. Throws the ball accurately on the move.
After a good first down run by Grant, Rodgers is sacked. Took a direct shot from Ben Lieber.
The Packers go empty. No one in the backfield. Here comes the pressure.
And Rodgers throws, caught by Driver. Takes it up the sideline and might be close to field goal range with that pickup. And they're going to go for it here. Or at least show that they're going to go for it on 4th and 3.
I think it's a good call. You're in that red zone fringe area. You got a great young quarterback. Let him play.
Finley, the tight end, to the bottom of the screen. And Rodgers throws. It's off Driver's hands and caught on the deflection by Jennings for a first down. Out of the hands of Driver, hit by Henderson, deflects in the air, and Jennings got his hands on it. 2nd and 11. Rodgers' throw is intercepted by Winfield.
You see Aaron Rodgers throw it to the outside, and Antoine does a great job of baiting Rodgers. Watch him open his hips, and then he's going to plant and drive. That's an excellent play by a Pro Bowl corner.
3rd and 2 for Favre. Rocket shot caught by Rice. Tramon Williams fell down. First down.
That was a confident throw by Brett Favre, and he really had to trust Sidney Rice. Woodson playing a game with Favre.
3rd and 11, a shot in the seam, caught by Berrien. First down.
Any questions about Brett Favre's arm are dispelled right there.
3rd and 11, Packers bring Woodson off the corner. Favre throws, touchdown, Sidney Rice.
That's amazing that he can do this.
Look at the eye discipline. Looks left, pumps left, falling backwards.
3rd and 5. Rodgers couldn't get away from Allen. Ray Edwards and Jared Allen combined for the sack. Favre taking over from the 43 as Peterson runs left. Tied up, and they took the ball out of his hands, and it'll be a touchdown for Clay Matthews, the rookie. Adrian Peterson, who has the strongest hands you'll ever find, but has had fumble problems. He was held up, and they took it out of his hands.
Here's Peterson. The ball's in his outside arm, and out of nowhere, Clay Matthews, who's got pretty good football genes, by the way.
I would say so. The whole family
does a great job of ripping it out of his body. That is a big-time play.
3rd and 7. Here comes the pressure. Favre zings it complete to Rice. Chester Taylor, big opening. Gain of 19 into Packer territory. A full complement of timeouts against the 3-man rush. Strike for Harvin. Made a man miss. And Harvin, 1st and goal to the 4. And Favre gives to Peterson. Touchdown. They're not getting to Favre at all. All kinds of time for Brett. And finally, it's Jeff Dugan, the tight end.
The time that Brett Favre has in this huddle. No one's near him. Look at his pocket. The cradle's perfect to throw from. And he finds Dugan down the field.
And now takes a quick shot for Berrien. Touchdown.
You'll see Brett Favre here. Just a quick one step, and it's a little stutter go. Bernard Berrien gets behind Al Harris. Touchdown.
3rd and 2. A quick shot for Driver. Into the secondary. Donald Driver. Rodgers, nowhere to go. Brought down. Brian Robinson. Screen, try to quiet down the rush. Grant has space. Ryan Grant inside the 10. 1st and goal for Green Bay at the 6. Empty backfield. 5 receivers. Rodgers passes, dropped by Lee. Coverage by Greenway. Only the 2nd drive of the half for the Packers, taking over their own 15. Rodgers sacked for the 6th time tonight. Here comes Allen. Picked up by Grant. There's the safety, almost. Instead, the ball comes out. Jared Allen again gets it done for the Vikings.
After review, the ruling is that the runner was tackled and downed in the end zone prior to fumbling the ball, which results in a safety.
2nd and 10. Getting rid of it quick for Michael Finley. A touchdown earlier. And with 33. Rodgers to Jordy Nelson. They cleared space, and Nelson up the field for the touchdown. They'll go for 2. Down 10.
Aaron Rodgers, eyes downfield, finds Jordy Nelson.
Can't tell you how impressed I am with Aaron Rodgers.
Allen chasing, shovels it forward, and it's incomplete. On 3rd down, a shot to James Jones, wide open in the secondary to the 40 as we get to the 2-minute warning. Rodgers has a career-high passing yard night, 358. To Grant out of the backfield. Ryan to the sideline. Rodgers, Allen. 4.5 sack night, Jared Allen. Mason Crosby on to try to make it a 7-point game. Mason Crosby, the onside kick. Got the good bounce last time. Got another good bounce. Sidney Rice goes up again and makes the play for the Vikings. That should close it out. Well, guys, you wonder what it feels like for Favre, who has now defeated every team in the National Football League. This was the only team that he had not beaten. And there's the moment, the greeting with Favre and Rodgers. But in the end, Favre beats the Packers.
If he throws his first NFL completion, and it's to himself. Knocked down by Ray Seals at the 10.
First and goal, Packers at the Cleveland 6. Favre just throws it off and caught into the end zone. Touchdown, Dorsey Levens.
Snap to Favre, a third down, looking downfield. He's hit, spins away, stumbling, rolling right, shovels it forward. He's got Donald Lee inside the 5, down to the 3-yard line. Oh, you talk about improvisation.
Going to the end zone. Got a man wide open, and he's off to the races. He's going to get the touchdown right here. Greg Jennings, Green Bay takes the lead. And Favre joins Marino in the history books.
And here is Brett Favre straight back in the pocket, and he slipped as he tried to set up. Now he's on the run. Now he's throwing downfield to Sterling Sharp. Sharp tried to get in position, and he got it. Touchdown! Sterling Sharp took it away from 2 defenders. All Favre did was put it up in the air, and Sterling Sharp down at the goal line on the alley-oop.
4 yards to go for the Packers. From the 34, the 40-yard line, here they come. And here's Brett scrambling away to the left. Is he going to run? No, he's going to throw on the run. Caught it at the 30-yard line by Beebe. Up and running. They may allow the touchdown to Don Beebe, and they will.
4 wide receivers. Shuffles it. That is an amazing first down. That's Brett Favre football. That's the way that you play.
Goes straight back in the pocket.
Look out.
He's got to get rid of the ball. He got rid of it. He throws it
Wide
downfield.
open.
Touchdown to Antonio Freeman, I believe.
And here's the fake handoff. Favre rolling left, being chased on the play by Brockins. Makes the turn. Wow! End zone touchdown! He got around the end to the end zone, and the Packers into the lead.
From the 48. And Favre's pass is caught by Donald Driver, and there it is. Brett Favre has now passed for more yards in his career than any other quarterback in National Football League history.
Favre will throw. Lobs it. Caught. Touchdown, Jeff Thomason.
In the middle of the run. Flag on the play as Favre pulls it down, throws for Mays, who makes a catch. Touchdown.
Championship meeting between these two teams here in Texas.
Favre on the run to the end zone. Sharp touchdown. Touchdown Packers.
Touchdown. Brooks. 3-man rush by the Bears. Favre throwing deep. Antonio Freeman. Touchdown.
But what a throw by Brett Favre. Nothing's over with this guy, is it?
Nothing.
I mean, the play isn't over, the game isn't over, the time isn't over.
Play action fake by Favre on his hip. Looks, throwing long there. Sterling Sharp. Sterling Sharp caught the ball at the 10 and to the 5, and he walked. Going from the ball. He didn't get down. He gets in the end zone for a touchdown.
This guy is a true, legit NFL man at quarterback now.
37 touchdown passes, 13 interceptions. Wants to throw back. He's going to run for it. And he dives. Does he get in? No.
He is hurt. Favre is going to return to the game here. This guy's stronger than a garlic milkshake.
Third down goal to go less than a yard. He rolls right. He throws end zone touchdown.
Big rush. Favre gets away, lobs it in the air. Someone's there. Oh, it's caught at the goal line for a touchdown.
Green Bay for their own 24. Up late, going deep. He is there. It is Sharp. To the 20. To the 10. Touchdown Packers. Back goes Brett Favre in traffic. Favre looking. Now comes to the end zone. In traffic. Wow. How? I don't know.
I mean, they're able to get so much pressure with their front four, they don't have to bring extra people.
Favre lets it go downfield. Pass caught. Touchdown, Rice.
Now the Packers want to take their time here to score this touchdown.
From the 2, first and goal. Here's Favre. Walking. And Favre push. Didn't get in. Maybe he did.
Second and goal. Play fake. Favre rolls right. Now back to his left. Throws to the end zone. Touchdown.
Gonna throw it. Favre makes a great throw. There you throw to a guy and you throw on the run. You're going to your right. You're throwing back. You throw into double coverage. Everything wrong for a quarterback to do, and you get a touchdown.
Here's the blitz. Favre for the end zone. Flag down. Touchdown to Freeman. Holy cow. Somehow it got past Rondé Barber.
49-yard line of Green Bay. Favre fakes the handoff. Rolled out right with White Wall in front. Favre rainbows deep down the right side, going for Walker. Leaping grab. He's got it at the 6-yard line. Javon Walker on another sensational adjustment.
Touchdown, Green Bay.
Head coach, 24-12. This is record. Favre on a roll to his left. Directing traffic, going very deep for Driver, who gets out in front, and he's going to go all the way.
There's Favre. Antonio Freeman, they're not going to catch him. Touchdown, Green Bay.
And Favre on a roll, he's going to run it for a first down. And Brett Favre takes off, gets inside the 20, inside the 10, and dives in on Cunningham for the touchdown.
Their best receiver out of the game from the 35, 19 seconds left. Ball punch, throws, touchdown! That was an excellent throw by Brett Favre.
Favre lays it up for Freeman, and it's incomplete. Or did he make the catch at the 15? Yes. What are they going to rule it? He caught it? Touchdown! He did what?
Favre to throw it. Out of the pocket and wins it deep. Touchdown. Sterling Sharp. Then Brett Favre was looking and getting hot.
Levens is in motion out of the backfield. Favre, he can run it in if he wants to, but he has a shovel pass and it's a touchdown!
So they can make it first without scoring. Favre.
Touchdown. And again, I think he throws better on the run than anyone. That one was kind of like a John Elway where you're running to the right.
Favre, a little shovel. He underhands it to Green for a touchdown. If Brett Favre isn't the NFL's MVP this season, there ought to be an investigation.
Favre takes, looks to throw. Guns the left side of the end zone, and it's diving grab, caught in the corner of the end zone. Touchdown, Green Bay!
Game 13 as the NFC celebrates 13 in a row. The throw to Freeman. Is he in the end zone? Touchdown!
Favre being chased by DeMarco. Favre got away, throws. Touchdown! Dorsey Levens made the catch.
I can't even draw as much as he runs around here. All the way out to the right. Now he comes back. DeMarco almost has him, but he has such great strength. Now he just flips it.
From the one. Favre, pump fake, going deep. Man open at the 30. It's Robert Brooks. Goodbye. Robert Brooks is inside the 30 and going all the way in for a touchdown.
Walker to the right side, driver split to the left. Single back offense, and the fake to Davenport, back to throw Favre. It is he rainbows deep down the middle, going for Walker, leaping grab, end zone, touchdown! Sensational catch by Walker between defenders. And Brett Favre put it right on his hands.
Favre goes straight back in the pocket. Favre looking. Now Favre running to the right. Favre is on the run. Favre is down the sidelines. Favre, touchdown! He dived into the end zone, and the Packers score with 14 seconds to go.
Unbelievable.
What a lunge by Brett Favre. I've never seen anything like it, Jim. What a play. What a way to get this team into the playoffs.
Now back to the shotgun. Time winding down to the play clock. Here's the snap. Brett looking, drills the middle. He's got Jennings. Touchdown!
There it is.
And there it is, a monumental milestone in a legendary career. Brett Favre has passed Dan Marino to become the National Football League all-time leading touchdown passer.
Play action from the 18. Want it all. Deep down the field. It is holding by Greg Jennings. The Packers win in overtime. Unbelievable.
On a quick snap, second down. Favre with daylight and time goes for the whole thing. Touchdown. Green Bay leads. Brett Favre.
Everybody out. Favre rolls. Wants to throw deep and does. To the end zone for Greg Lewis. Touchdown! Touchdown! Favre did it!
What a play by Brett Favre. I mean, look at that throw.
Bennett, the lone setback. Two tight end setup for the Packers, and Favre back to throw his first one. Going deep, has a man open. Andre Rison does the dance in, and Favre got settled down in a hurry.
That is the way to settle down. You know, sometimes you have to start with short passes. I would say when you got a strong arm guy and you want to settle him down and he's anxious, just show.
Welcome to Lambeau Field in Green Bay, Wisconsin. This is Charlie Jones and Todd Christensen. An absolutely gorgeous Sunday afternoon. The Pittsburgh Steelers and the Green Bay Packers. Second down and 5. Hodges in motion. And here is Barry Foster. And here is Hodge to the outside. Has the first down. Dad's probably listening today, wondering the same way. Here's the pass to Stone. Way to the 20-yard line. Just kind of hang around, float to the ball, and dive on the pile. Yeah, right. O'Donnell throws. It is incomplete. Close contact, no flag. It will be fourth down. Mark Royals with the hold. And it is good. Officially will be a return of 17 yards. And here is the quarterback for the Green Bay Packers, Brett Favre. He'll have Workman and McGee in the backfield, Sharp and Beach as the wide receivers. So Green Bay on offense for the first time in the ballgame. First NFL start for Brett Favre. They open up with a reverse. Outstanding defensive play by Greg Lloyd. Play action fake to Workman. A pass over the middle is dropped with a tight end, Ed West. Favre drops it off underneath the coverage and is dropped by Workman. So twice in the opening set, passes dropped by the Packer receivers. Second down. Little play action fake. Incomplete at the 35-yard line. But aren't you taught to catch with your hands?
You're taught in certain situations, not in the middle of the field.
This pass into the middle of the field. Incomplete to Dwight Stone and almost picked off on the rebound.
Catch the punts, he takes the gloves off because he says he likes the feel of leather. What a punt. Oh, my goodness.
It'll be down at the 4-yard line. And it is first down. And here is Workman. Big hole up the middle. He slips as he makes his cut. And here is Workman to the right side. He pops through.
Same thing that he'd been doing for the Rams and the Chargers. Now he's doing it for the Packers.
Play action fake. Buford McGee, 40-yard line. Wide receivers, one back on the set. On target, Sterling Sharp. Favre to throw, blitzes on. It is picked up. Good read by the quarterback. Completes the pass to the tight end, Jackie Harris. Sharp in motion. And the first back through is McGee. He needs only a yard. Let's see where they spot it. It'll be close. May not have made it. And he has Harry Sidney in the offensive set.
Mike Holmgren was telling us that last week in a similar situation on the 20-yard line, in a crucial situation, Favre called completely the wrong formation, and they're forced to kick a field goal. He didn't want to take any chances there.
Sidney came out, Workman back in. And it is Workman, bad handoff. Bad exchange between Favre and Workman.
Well, what they have there is the Polaroid shots from the sidelines to see where the linemen are, and what the idea there is to get stance and where the people are set up. But the Pittsburgh starting offense versus the starting defense of the Packers, there are no Pro Bowl players on the field.
O'Donnell all the time in the world to Stone, and he is going to be short. First quarter comes to a close. Pittsburgh leads at 3-0. I'd get up and leave.
He was intimidated just like everybody else.
Third down, Workman has the reception, leans, he may pick up the first down.
He talks about hanging on the sidelines with the likes of the Godfather of Soul and MC Hammer.
Favre throws, nice touch to Sidney, and he has it, he's out at the 43.
Look at him scramble around. He actually pushes Moran out of the way. Take a look at the feet here. Are they down?
9:45, time remaining, first half. Packers trail 3-0. Kitrick Taylor, 26-yard line. Woodson with the tackle.
How many times did you watch it on tape? Remember what he said?
25 or 30. Fumble, scramble for the ball. The Packers have it.
Up to this point, defensively, it's probably their only issue is that they have not been able to sack the quarterback. From the backside, both outside backers, Lloyd and Williams, get in there.
Good snap, good hold. If it carries, and it does.
Sacagawea.
Barry Foster to the 40. Inside the 30, still on his feet, struggling to the 10. Terrell Buckley saves the touchdown at the 8-yard line. Second down, goal to go, 8-yard line. O'Donnell has pressure, throws it, may be intercepted at the 5. No, it was trapped. O'Donnell got away with one. It was a terrible throw. He was trying to avoid the sack.
He hesitates a little bit. Now, where is he throwing? He throws it to Hodge, but he sees Clark come off. Now, where's the ball? Is that, oh, that's a catch. Here's it comes in, right here. That's definitely a catch. That's a catch. There, now right here you can see the ball right there that he lost it, but did he have control?
I'm not sure he had possession. That's watching it in slow motion. Field goal attempt is blocked. Anderson goes back to cover it. Vinnie Clark got the block. It looks as if he's okay. Green Bay from their own 24, pump fake going deep. He is there, it is sharp. To the 20, to the 10. Touchdown Packers.
This is the hook and go pattern. 2 All-Pros, Rod Woodson versus Sharp. He bites on the hook, and that's it. It's all over. Favre puts it right on his hands. Darren Perry is an excellent free safety, but he's no match for the speed of Sterling Sharp.
3.5 minutes left to go, first half. O'Donnell throws, pass is complete, 41-yard line to Stone.
The AFC West lead. That's going to be a great game.
That's a good one. Second and 10. Pass is complete on the sideline. Yes, he had it inbounds. Third down and 7. Little play action, fake pass is complete. First down, it is Grant. O'Donnell deep over the middle and sails on him. Stone cannot hold on. O'Donnell is set. May take the Steelers out of field goal range. time at Lambeau Field. Are you surprised? The Green Bay Packers out in front of the Pittsburgh Steelers by a score of 10-3. And he is also an excellent receiver. Favre trips as he tried to slip out to the right side. He's going to lose 3 or 4 yards. It will be 4th down.
Cougar now Washington Redskin Jason Buck. He's the one that set the two of them up.
Foster is stopped cold at the 40. No gain. Nice big pass complete to McGee.
Mom, you've made me what I am today, but don't let that ruin your birthday.
And today is Benita Favre's birthday. Here's a little play action fake by her son. Pass is complete to Buford McGee. 3rd down and 4. Workman diving for it. He's going to come up short during next week's Notre Dame Saturday show. That's starting at 1 o'clock Eastern time.
Remember last time on 4th and 1, he bumped into Workman in the backfield. We'll see what happens this time.
Clean handoff. Oh, this is going to be a close mark.
This is going to be close. Oh.
1st down. 2nd and 8. Winters bothered by a bit of a hip problem. Favre steps away. Good move. And watch him. He slides at the 10. When I talked to his dad, he said, I keep cautioning he's got to slide. He wants to lower his head. 3rd down, 17. Pass is complete at the 8-yard line of Jackie Harris. It'll be 4th down, and the field goal team will come aboard. He is 30 of 30. And he pulls this one. It is no good. And the scoreless streak defensively for the Steelers in the second half continues. We'll be back. Terrell Buckley is in the secondary for the Packers, and the pass is.
And they go right to it.
After 3, Green Bay leads 10-3. We'll be right back after these messages from your local station. It's sailed on him. It's incomplete. 2nd time in the ball game.
It's going to have some room.
25-yard line. Flag is down. He's to the 30. He's to the 35. To the 40. And then out of bounds. It wasn't much slower. Favre, that's a lateral.
I was just going to say, Charlie, you're absolutely right.
And the officials pick him on the far side. That's a backward pass that goes out of bounds. They have led since then. 3rd down and 14. They have converted only 2 of 9 3rd down opportunities. Workman. And he's going to get a couple of yards. I'm surprised at that call. Kicking to Woodson. Pressure. He gets good kick. Great hang time. Woodson now makes the mistake. The Packers recovered. It's a touchdown. Do they? They say they do. Yes!
Ball is put in play at the spot. 1st down.
No, but if it's a muff, if he drops it, it can't be advanced. But here, this is, it bounces up. Right here, this is a fumble. He creams him here. The ball goes backwards. It's recovered in the end zone. As far as I can tell, that's got to be a touchdown, doesn't it?
He did not have possession. You have to have possession for it to be a fumble. Woodson did not have possession.
Well, that would certainly be the argument right there.
Favre, timing pattern, touchdown, Robert Brooks.
Back-to-back plays against Rod Woodson. This just has not been his day. Woodson is not going to be able to come back out. Mike Holmgren, good call here, going right for the kill. Very first play. What a throw by Favre to Brooks.
Favre also showing that touch that they said he didn't have. Stone Foster to the outside, around the corner, has the first down. O'Donnell goes deep and is pulled down by Adrian Cooper, the tight end. First down. O'Donnell deep, and it is incomplete. There was contact.
Jeff Graham certainly has a legitimate beef.
The Steelers are gambling at 4th and 10.
Well, Charlie, in Bill Cowher's mind, it's not really a gamble. If they're to kick a field goal, that means they have to score 2 more times. This way he figures we only have 2 chances to do it.
Pass is complete at the 11-yard line. Green Bay says no, they lost it when they came down. The officials are going to rule it the ground caused the fumble?
He certainly bobbled the ball, Charlie, but we were blocked out. It appeared to me that he might have gotten underneath it. Watch as he jumps. He certainly bobbles it. Watch the ball. Does the ball come out there? Yeah. There it is.
And here is Workman. And a flag is down back at the 15-yard line.
He's going to spin Favre down. Personal foul. Right there, the ball's completely hit. Handed off. You got to know right there, you can't hit the quarterback.
First down.
Once the ball is set up, the clock starts again.
And here is Workman to the 40-yard line. O'Donnell has missed his last 5. So here's the screen to Hodge. Hodge has the first down and up the sideline. 3rd and 5. Deep. Pass incomplete. Davenport 0 for 1 in 4th down opportunities today. This one is caught by Ernie Mills. Here's the screen, and this one is dropped by Foster. O'Donnell buys a lot of time. He goes deep to Stone. Incomplete at the 3. Between 2 undefeated teams. Next Sunday's going to be great on NBC. And here is Workman. And he's working on the clock. That's the reality. And he sends all of his love. Stone has it, bounces away. Dwight Stone to the 40, to the 50. Needs to get past one man. He does, but he's then caught from behind by Roland Mitchell. A gain of 50 yards on the play. Hurry up offense from the 32. Far side pass is complete.
Yeah, they haven't done anything, and then at the end they do something. Today they played a very solid football game.
O'Donnell slips away. He's being chased. He's going to pick up some yards and stop the clock. Now we'll go to the second quarter.
Interestingly enough, though, Charlie, they have a bye next week.
Well, they get a rest before the second quarter. It is almost caught, not caught. Pusher up the middle, knocked off of his feet. Hasselrig!
What a
Flags
run!
are down!
Oh, what a run!
Carlton Hasselrig at 6'1", 287 pounds of swivel hip football player.
Face mask penalty on the defense, penalized into the run, 5 yards only. Ball back in the backfield was ruled a fumble, caught in the air, returned. We bring up 4th down.
Incomplete. Jeff Graham. Green Bay takes over.
Charlie, was interesting in the paper this week, in one of the Green Bay papers, they had regarding the fact they made the parallel of Brett Favre to Wally Pipp and Lou Gehrig about the fact that now with Mikowski out, the big numbers that he had last week, and of course the numbers that he has generated this week, the great throws that he has had, maybe they do have their new leader, and maybe it wasn't coincidental that sometime this week they referred to him as Bart Favre. That's a reach.
And it is official. Green Bay 17, Pittsburgh 3.
All right, so let's bring in NFL Hall of Famer Brett Favre. Much like all of us, you are sitting at home right now trying to stay busy. First of all, I just want to ask how you're doing.
I'm doing fine. A little bit anxious like everyone else. Kind of get back into normal routine, but I'd rather stay at home and do the right thing until this is completely eradicated. However that is done, and whenever it will get done, we can do as much as collectively. That's the only way it's going to happen. Stay at home and not spread it.
Absolutely. So I want to talk to you about the draft. Of course, it's less than a week away now. We're used to this huge fanfare, this massive event. We saw Nashville last. So none of that is going to be happening. These guys are going to be at home, much like you were back in 1991 when you were drafted. So what do you think about the draft this year and how it's going to look and what that's going to be like?
I think it will be sort of a throwback to when I was drafted, maybe even a little bit before that. Now I heard the term, well, it's going to be a draft over the internet now. Well, that we didn't have internet. I never even heard the word internet in 91. It was via phone. I think several players have been invited to New York, but I'm not sure. Now they've really, I give the NFL credit for making it more just sort of like the Super Bowl. It's more than just a game. The draft has become more than just a draft. And so this is a little bit of a setback. The bottom line is it's about drafting these college players, and that will change. And the excitement that those guys have to be going through leading up to this. I vaguely remember what that was like, but the anticipation will kill you. So that part of it won't change. Either a guy gets drafted or he doesn't. Where he gets drafted, when he gets drafted, all is the same. It's just without all the fanfare.
Well, speaking of the draft, taking a look at the quarterback class, obviously everybody expecting Joe Burrow to go #1 overall. How would you, as probably the most expert person on this, how would you evaluate quarterback class and who stands out to you?
Well, I think Joe Burrow would deserve to be the first pick in the draft if you just strictly base it off of his performance this year. From a team standpoint, I don't think we've ever have seen a team dominate the way that they dominated. And obviously he was the leader of that team. And I saw very little flaws, if any. I really didn't study him any before last year, but what I saw last year is worthy of a first pick. That's that. I think there's several other quarterbacks. Really, it comes down to, the thing you have to look at, and it's not my expertise to say, is what a team is looking for, not only in a quarterback, but in a particular player. Maybe the best player available is not a fit necessarily for that team style of offense or the style of defense that they like to play. So that's a lot of times a general fan doesn't see or know, and not that they should, what the coach, what the organization, what they're thinking, and why they went in the direction they did. So, but I think Joe Burrow is as close to a can't miss as you can possibly get based on his performance.
I got to ask you about Tom Brady, of course. I've seen a couple of interviews now. You said, in your opinion, you think he looks as good as he's ever been. Two of those moves later in your career as well. So what do you think about him going to Tampa and what we can expect from him?
Well, regardless of what happens, it's his decision. And I commend him greatly for that decision, not necessarily for leaving, but for that leap of faith. And you know what? I think, what he's done in New England, we may not see in our generation ever again the dominant play that he has shown for so long. And just the durability has been unbelievable. Just a great player, great leader. And, I think more than anything, and I know Tom real well. We don't we've talked a little bit about it, but I think more than anything, he just kind of wanted to try his hand at something different. And you can't fault him for that. It has nothing to do with the organization, even though people may make it out to be, a rift between he and Belichick or the organization. Look, what they did is unbelievable, and that will not change. And he just tries his hand at something different. And if it works out, great. If it doesn't, he still gets to ever play the game.
Someone else who doesn't look like he's slowing down a whole bunch would be Aaron Rodgers. Your Green Bay Packers made it all the way to the NFC title game, lost to the 49ers. So if there is an NFL season, what are you anticipating for Green Bay this year?
Well, I think, and I can't remember my exact words at the start of the year last year, but I said, I do know that I said, don't rule out the Packers. As long as they have Aaron Rodgers running the team, they have a shot. And there were a lot of faces that no one recognized on that team, including the head coach, who I thought did a heck of a job this past year. But as long as they have him, it's like Tom Brady. As long as you have those guys on your team and starting, you have a chance to go all the way, not just make an impact, all the way. And Green Bay, I think, surpassed a lot of people's anticipation or expectations in regards to how they were going to do, and made it all the way to the championship game. And they're only going to be better. There's no decline in Aaron's this game. It's just going to be another year in this new offense and working with his new coach, which will only make them better.
You know, I mentioned if there is an NFL season, because, of course, like we all do, that's not really a possibility. We don't know what's going to happen right now. I was listening to this interview, and I thought it was really interesting where you said one of your favorite throws you ever actually made was when you were with the Vikings to beat San Francisco at the last minute, and how important the crowd reaction was to you. So tell us about that moment, and for you personally, what it would be like to play without fans.
Well, what it would be like to play without fans, because it's never happened. I guess the closest thing would be, a scrimmage or something. But even then, you have people in the stands. So I don't know what that was like, or would be like. I only can say this: I love playing in front of the fans. If you asked me to sing or say a speech in front of 70,000, I would be petrified. You asked me to play football in front of 70,000, I would rise up to the challenge. That was what I was born to do. And I think you take that away, I'm not saying it can't be done, but there's a level of depression, I think, if that's the right word, that would come with it. Like, I want to play in front of people. Now, granted, you would be in, on the TV. But, yeah, as far as the San Francisco game when I was with the Vikings, this is the best example, but it's happened so many times throughout my career, in other quarterbacks' career, where you get hit, and regardless of if you're home or away, you would gauge what happened on that play, either good or bad, based upon the crowd's reaction. Obviously, the play against San Francisco was the first home as a Viking for me, and it was a lot tougher game than I was anticipating, but it came down to the very last play of the game, and it couldn't have been any more dramatic than it was. Not that I was drawing it up that way, but hit, I never saw. I just threw it, got hit, I went face down into the turf, and as I was looking into the turf, I was just thinking to myself, please cheer, please cheer. And it was just the loudest cheer and roar that you can imagine. And I knew that was a good sign. So you're going to lose that without fans.
Hopefully that does not happen. Brett Favre, I know you've been a big advocate for staying safe during this pandemic. Now you are coming together with other athletes, musicians, comedians to help raise money for COVID-19 related costs. Tell us a little bit about that, and for everybody watching this, how we can help.
Well, there's endless ways you can help. For me to do this, do that. The first and most important way you can help is by not getting or contracting the virus. I think we all get that. Secondly, donations of whatever you feel you can do or want to do. And in regards to this, this athlete, this musician. This is Cameo Cares is really, I think, doing a great thing, and it's really, I think we may be doing the first. There was one yesterday, maybe, but we're really in the trial basis of this, so I don't really know what to expect, but it's just more or less kind of putting people together without being together, if that makes sense. And it's a collection of athletes and celebrities and politicians with fans, and I think that's a great idea. Cameo, what they've done is really ingenious. You know, I often, I don't know, like me, but sometimes you think, you know, why didn't I think of that? You know, I could have come up with that, and I could have retired a long time ago. Cameo was really kind of ingenious what they came up with. It's simple but ingenious idea, bringing the fan and the celebrity together, and this is their general app. This is a collection of celebrities with fans, and just kind of really talk, ask questions, and just really give it a up close and personal chance to visit with the celebrities.
Well, we know you got
and raise the cost.
Yeah, absolutely. Brett, before I let you go, I have to ask, are you brave enough to raise your hat for us?
It's sort of an orange. Consider this quarantine week 4. Now, next week I may go with a pink, so stay tuned.
Tell us what happened. You were home like all of us. This had to do with your daughter. Tell us the story real quick.
Yeah, so I got gray hair or silver hair, whatever you want to call it normally. That may surprise people. So my daughter and 2 of her classmates had quarantined here at the house, and they said, "Hey, Dad, let's make a TikTok." So I tried my hand at that. My dancing was terrible, and we got on the subject of coloring hair, and I said, "Color my hair, whatever." I said, "I'm not worried about. I don't have anything to do other than this right now." But I said, "We're quarantined." I said, "Call me crazy," but so we went with we tried a blonde first, but I think it was too close to my silver hair. Didn't do anything. I said, "Let's go with something crazy like orange." So here we are.
All right, we appreciate it. Like you said, next week it may be pink. We're just going to have to tune in to find out.
Yeah.
We're going to see.
Yeah.
All right, we are so immensely appreciative of joining us here on CBS Sports HQ, NFL Hall of Famer, personal, staying at home like all of us, Brett Favre. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Back in the Peter King podcast, reporting from outside of Hattiesburg, Mississippi. It's pouring rain outside, and I'm sitting in Brett Favre's house. And I thought that on the occasion of his 50th birthday, which is coming up here very soon on October 10th, that we would come down and record a little bit of retrospective on the life and times of Brett Lorenzo Favre. How you doing?
That sounds like a bestseller.
It sounds like a precursor to a funeral. That's what it is.
I wasn't thinking that. You always bring great news.
I do, don't I?
Great to see you.
Yeah, it's good to see you too. So I'm so happy to be here because I covered you a lot when you were a player. And we had a lot of interesting moments, but I think the moments that I remember most are...
You falling asleep in my house with holy socks on?
I did fall asleep in your house, and I did have holes in my socks, but I bet you don't remember what movie was on at the time.
I'm going to guess and say Smokey and the Bandit.
Son of Flubber.
No, I was wrong.
Oh, yeah, you were wrong. But anyway, so the deal is football coverage used to be a little bit simpler in those days. And in those days, players and reporters probably knew each other a little bit better and talked a little bit more openly than they do. But I also, and that was in the late 80s, 90s, and going in. But I also think that what the difference is that you were just a different person. You could have a conversation for an hour about anything. Billy Bob Thornton and Sling Blade, what you were having trouble with in your golf swing, what you saw on the National Geographic special last night with Boyd Mattson, and the incredible diversity of opinion. You didn't normally like to watch football games on TV. You didn't really like regular television. You kind of thought it was all a waste of time. And so you had a lot of interest, and for a guy who's from small town Mississippi, you would think would have very fixed interests, and you had a jillion of them. How do you think that ever happened?
That's a good question. I don't think I was like that as a kid. I think I was like most kids in small town Mississippi, kind of entrenched in, I say county, and being all league baseball,
that was your big goal.
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember as a kid. What I do remember, I guess, more than anything, is my goals were set high. They were limited goals, but they were high, and they were two. I was going to play pro baseball, Major League Baseball, or NFL football, and there was no third. Now, I went to college, obviously, to play football at Southern Miss, but I was, as a backup plan, I was going to be a teacher and a coach, because that's what my mother and father did. But again, my goals were either Major League Baseball or football. Growing up, it wasn't like we were exposed, and I think our generation, and I include you in this, Peter, we grew up with 3 channels, maybe.
Right.
We didn't grow up with, you want to watch it, we have it on TV. We were very limited, so you were not exposed to a lot of stuff. There was not social media. People actually read the paper. So I say all that because I sort of blossomed in a good way in some respects, and not so good in others. But like you said, you wouldn't have guessed it at 12 years old that I would be, I don't say this braggingly, but diversified in my thoughts. And
right.
I opened up. I hated getting in front of people to talk, but I felt at home on the football field in front of thousands of people. I was never into politics growing up. Didn't really care one way or the other. I was just focused on one thing, and that was baseball and football, and that was it.
I think a lot of people would be really interested now in kind of how you're doing. I always thought that at some point in your life, you would probably feel some of the things that you played through.
Yeah.
And you said something very telling. I remember just before you went into rehab, early in your career when you had your Vicodin problem, and you said that, a lot of people would always say that they wanted to be you. Mm-hmm. And how great it would be to be Brett Favre. And you said to me that, well, a lot of people would like to be Brett Favre, but if you felt the way I felt a lot of the time, I don't think you'd like to be Brett Favre, no matter how big the rewards are. And so you became almost as famous for how much you went through to play as how great you played. So at this point, you wake up in the morning, quite literally right now, what hurts?
My neck is killing me.
Yeah.
Now, maybe I slept on I don't know. Maybe the pillow wasn't right or something. I don't know. But for the most part, prior to waking up this morning, my neck hurting like crazy. And I have no, my only explanation would be 1,500 sacks at some point are going to start showing.
Whether now, how many times are you, is that college and pro?
I don't know, but I think I have the record for, at one time I had every record, good and bad. This is one that's really, I look at as almost laughable, at least at this point in my life. Most times sacked.
Yeah.
I mean, you have some of the records I have. You have to play a very, very long time to accumulate. But I feel good. I'm often asked, "Do you feel normal?" And I really don't know what normal feels like. And I think any 50-year-old, they got complaints, and quite frankly, normal as opposed to what, 21?
Well, I mean, let's say, what about your ankles and feet, which got the
they pop. You know, I would be terrible at hide and seek because you would hear me coming because I crack and creak.
Yeah.
Not so much hurt. And like I tell people, I'm able to, it's thundering, by the way.
Yeah, I can hear it.
That's not sound effects. This podcast is for real.
Yeah.
But I tell people all the time that I'm able to do what I want to do. You know, it's not like, you know, if I want to, I've tried snow skiing. I'm terrible at it. Not because I was sacked 1,500 times, just because I'm just terrible at it.
Right.
But I'm able to go do it. If I choose to go play golf, I'm not very good at it, but I can still do it without any restrictions. You know, I think for me, what I have fear of more than anything that 20 years ago was not even a thought is the mental side of it.
Right.
Because there's so many stories that you hear about, sad stories.
What about now? Like, do you ever say, where did I put my car keys, and think it might be more than just where did I put my car keys?
You know, you and I were talking before we started the podcast, and here's a perfect example. We have a lot of stories that you and I, we've talked a lot of football, but we've probably talked more about non-football related stuff, and you've been to our house so many times, obviously covering, but also because you became part of the family. Mm-hmm. And there's some of the stories that you brought up I don't remember. And you know, you hear people talk.
Maybe part of that is natural, but that's probably not a great feeling for you, is it, to not remember those stories?
There was a point in my life where I remembered everything.
Yeah.
And
let me just to tell the listeners, in 1995, I did a story on a week in the life of a football team with the Green Bay Packers. Mike Holmgren said, you got the run of the building. You can sit in on anything. You can listen to anything. So 2 times I sat in on your quarterback meetings with Steve Mariucci, Ty Detmer, and TJ Rubley, who was the number 3 quarterback. And this is what I will never forget. One day, I forget what day of the week it was, you fell asleep in the meeting. Okay, maybe not a rare occurrence. You fell asleep in the meeting, and you had to take a test later about that week's game plan against the Minnesota Vikings. And I asked Mariucci how he did, and he goes, just like he always does, he never fails these. He always gets them right. Even though he slept through part of this, and he goes, he will get it by the end of the week. He always gets it by the end of the week. You had that talent, didn't you? The sort of the ability to hear something once that a lot of people have. You know, we were talking about Sling Blade with Billy Bob Thornton. You saw it once, and you remembered complete sentences of dialogue in that movie.
Yeah, you know, I remember Brown left tight close, Z right, sprint right solid, Z quick drags. One of the first plays I ever learned as a Packer. I couldn't tell you what it meant.
Yeah.
But it just rolls off my tongue. And that play was not a play that we ran maybe 5 times in 16 years. But then a story that that I should know, whether it's one from you or someone else. I have no recollection of it.
And it bugs you to not remember?
Well, it bugs me. It makes me wonder.
Right.
And I'll back up. Dr. Julian Bells, who was portrayed by Alec Baldwin in the movie Concussion.
Yeah.
I'd never heard of him. So not long after I retired, my agent Bus calls me and says, "Are you familiar with Dr. Julian Bells?" And I said, "No, I'm not." And he said, "Well, was the Pittsburgh Steelers doctor. Now he is working on concussions." I didn't know to what extent. It was a lot more clear after I saw the movie. But anyway, he said he wants to talk to you. So I said, "Oh, okay, sure." So we talked on the phone, and he was doing a study, and you're probably familiar with this. And this was the first time I had heard it in my discussion with him. But he was doing a study to determine if tau protein, which I had never heard of, he had discovered that there was high levels of tau protein in all the deceased players that he had studied.
Right.
And several of those were Steelers guys. And so he wanted to do it on living, whether present playing or just retired, to determine if there's a relationship between this tau protein and problems.
Right.
So I said, "Well, what is tau protein?" And he says, "Well, tau protein is, everyone has it. It's not abnormal. Elevated levels, in my opinion, with my studies, are a result of head trauma." So it made more sense. And I said, "Okay." He said, "We'd fly you out here in a private jet." And it wasn't a thing where they pay you. So we'd fly you out here in a private jet, do a couple of days. I think it was at UCLA, something like that. And then you're free to go home. And I said, "Well, Doc, let me ask you one question. Say I do have elevated levels of tau protein. Do you have something to treat it?" And he goes, "No." So I'm sorry to say, but we're early on in this study. And I said, "No disrespect, but I'd rather not know." And he understood. Because then every time you forget your keys or your glasses are on your head, that happens to everyone, or you thinking, "I got tau protein elevated levels, I got head trauma." And, I just would rather not know. And it's easier to write it off as, well, you get 50, you forget your keys and they're in your pocket.
Right.
And that's true. But I also know that the way I played and the fact that I played 20 years and then you count 4 years in college and in high school, which should never be overlooked because that was at a time when the brains and you're not developed.
Formative years, yeah.
So there's a lot of fear. I mean, I knew Junior Seau very, very well. I wouldn't say we were close friends, but I knew him very well, played against him a ton. And you knew Junior. That guy loved life.
Yeah.
He was, I thought he'd play forever.
Yeah.
Just the last person I would ever think that would kill themselves would be Junior Seau. Just no way. He's got too much he had too much energy.
Right.
So it's kind of, this is a strange way of explaining or describing it. But it's like when Joe Montana was traded to Kansas City Chiefs, anything can happen.
Yeah.
And I love life. I love everything about it. I have good days and bad days, but I love everything about it. I don't want to leave this place. I know at some point I do. But if he can do that, what about me?
Right.
And so that's kind of where I am with that. It used to be, boy, how are your knees? How are your hips? And not that those haven't taken a considerable amount of damage, but
do you ever feel like you are more depressed or just depressed compared to what you used to be?
Again, I think I look a little more closely, maybe analyze more than I should. That maybe it's really not as big a deal as it, and it's probably not. So yes and no. I quickly kind of deflect those I'm able to kind of just say, you know, you're almost 50, but you're able to do and feel like, I assume if you asked me at 21 what I hoped I'd feel and be able to do at 50, I can't imagine that I would describe it any better than I have it right now.
Mm-hmm.
And in saying that, that's not that there's not aches and pains and difficulties in remembering certain things. Words that are really simple words that I can't get out, and you probably have noticed a couple of times. And I go, damn, that's the easiest word, but I can't remember it. Now again, is that what happens when you're closing in on 50? I'm going to say yes. So, I can't complain.
Yeah. Do you ever regret how long you played?
That's a great question, Peter. I just had this conversation with someone a few weeks back.
Because you know why? Today, Matt Ryan just told me the other day, visiting the Atlanta training camp, and I'm paraphrasing it. Basically, they'll have to drag me off the field. I'm going to play until I can't play anymore. And that's what you did.
Yeah, that was what I did. I actually relished that role, maybe. That guy is, as Holmgren used to call me, John Wayne. The more he said that, or the more I played hurt and played well, the more I dug my heels in. And I loved to play the game, but there was a part of me numerous times, and you were covering me on numerous occasions where will he or won't he? And quite frankly, Monday I would have said there's no way in hell I'm going to play with a broken thumb on my throwing hand. And not only did I play, we beat the Vikings on Monday night in Minnesota and had one of the best games up to that point that I'd ever had.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, I'm going to do it again, and I'm going to do it again. And, at the time, concussions were not an issue. If you had a concussion, you sat out for a little bit, and coach was like, where in the hell's Favre? Get his ass back in there.
Yeah.
That's the way it was, that was it. Now we know a lot more about concussions and the seriousness of it. And I've been asked a lot in the last few years, knowing now what you know, go back. Would you play any different? Would you play as long? And honestly, I really don't know. I really don't know. But I do know this. I'm a lot more fearful now than I was at 35. 35, I knew I was getting closer to the end, but I don't think concussions were thought of it when I was 35 near as serious, or the repercussions could really be, you may live, but your quality of life may be terrible. It was more, well, as long as you can make it through without bad knees, you can play golf, you can do whatever. But it's I think Matt Ryan would fall into a category, I think, of the minority now. I think more guys are looking or examining how long they want to play, or why do I want to play, or why I want to retire when I do.
Mm-hmm.
Pat Willis was one of those guys I thought was a good example. Justin Smith. And I've never talked to them personally, but I think that they probably took a good hard look and thought, I made good money, I'm healthy, maybe it's time to step away. I think we'll see more of that as time goes by.
So you have had thoughts that maybe you did stay too long at the dance?
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. I wonder every day what tomorrow will bring from what I did playing.
Yeah.
And the John Wayne was cool then, maybe not so cool now.
You had a hell of a time, didn't you?
I wouldn't trade any of it. The good and the bad. Most recently I spoke at a Boys and Girls Club in Huntsville, Alabama. There's 1,500 people. And was asked a lot of questions. One was if you could go back and change something. And I said, let me stop you. I always get this question. I wouldn't change anything. It is what it is. First of all, we can't change it, so it's ridiculous to even think that. Secondly, if everything was good, if I completed every pass, we won every game, how would you ever know what a real great win would be like the Minnesota over San Francisco in the last second? If you never lost a game, how would you know what it's like to win a game like that? You have to kind of suffer through some bad times in order to appreciate the good ones. And I honestly, that's the way I look at it. I had a blast. Would I have liked to have won more Super Bowls? Of course. But I don't. When I left, my head was held high, and I said this in my Hall of Fame speech, and I could not be more honest. I gave everything I could. I hold no regrets, and it's something as a coach, I would tell my kids, or I tell my own kids, or I'll tell my grandkids. Whatever you want to do, make sure that at 25 you don't look back and say, you know, I should have played, or I should have worked harder, or I could have been the best at my class, whatever that may be, or at 35 or at 40. Because when that time comes, and you know this, and you probably told your kids the same thing, when you leave high school, you don't go back.
Yeah.
So you better make the most of it. And every adult that I've ever been around, when talking about this subject, they all say the same thing. If they could go back, they'd go back. Not because you love chemistry or biology, but it was a simpler time in life. So we all have some regrets to a certain extent, but there are some that are controllable, and you got to have the absolute best time you can have, but you got to work hard at it. And I know I did that. Never once can I, because I know it never happened, that I go into a game ill prepared. Did I play great every game? Absolutely not. But it wasn't because I didn't try my hardest. And for that reason, I'm proud of what I did and had a blast doing it.
Is Patrick Mahomes the quarterback who is most like you?
I would say yes. Yes. The one thing I would say, and I think I may have told you this prior to us sitting down, that he's probably more polished. In fact, he is more polished. You have to remember, I think our styles are very similar. We use our feet, use our arm strength. You never know what's going to come out, including me and including him. You don't say, well, I'm going to option this one on the next play. It just happens. And I think that your talent level, and let me back up. Good example of limitations. Ty Detmer, a great friend of mine, teammate. I would make a throw in practice, and he would say, oh, there was 3 guys there. I'm like, yeah, so? I said, you wouldn't make that throw? And he goes, hell no, I wouldn't make that throw. I said, why not? And he goes, I know my limitations. I'm no way in hell. Patrick and I, there's never unlimited limitations. But you feel like there's nothing you can't accomplish, and in some ways you get by with stuff that you go, what the hell was he thinking? But if anybody can do it, he can do it. But I left Southern Miss, and I had no idea what reading a curl to flat defender meant, or a 4-week blitz, or shotgun, or a high-low, or a triangle read. My deal was run the option, and if we passed, we sprinted out. And I'll never forget my first coach. I asked him, Jack White, great guy. I said, Coach White, I said, well, what do we do if they blitz? And he goes, you make some shit happen. And I went, I like that. At 17.
Mike Holmgren didn't always like that in your early years, though.
No, but quite a change when I went on to Green Bay, and much was required of the quarterback.
Yeah.
And much was expected. little did Mike know, there was very little training. Well, I could throw it. I could run around and make something happen, and I could sling it, and you would go, wow. But Mike wanted to read the slant. If the slant's not there, throw the drag.
Yeah.
I want you to read the triangle. You got Sterling to Ed West to Dorsey Levens. You know, if there's someone in the window, then you go here. You know, that was new to me. So I was learning on the fly and relying on, so many times I'd drop back, I'd take off running and make something out of what seemed like nothing. And Holmgren the next day would say, "Where are you going?" I said, "What do you mean?" He goes, "We had it picked up." I go, "Easy for you to say. I'm getting out of there. I went where I felt comfortable."
In other words, you had the blitz picked up, and you didn't.
It may not even be a blitz.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say more times than not, when someone would blitz, I would assume he's not picked up. But I went to what I felt comfortable with, and that was my mobility and buying time with my legs and using my arm strength, because I knew if I bought time, I could find somebody. Where someone like Ty, he would never even attempt that, because that wasn't part of his weapons.
Are you glad you played football?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Even with all the danger and not knowing what you're going to be like when you wake up when you turn 60?
Yeah. I knew it was dangerous. I knew, maybe not to a 12-year-old. You tell a 12-year-old, all right, you have too many concussions at 50. They ain't worried about that. That's for parents to decide. But I grew up in that world, and my dad obviously was my coach, but very little coaching in regards to X's and O's. Tons of coaching in toughness, leadership, and it worked. It worked. I think I feel like what set me apart more than anything. Yeah, I had probably better arm strength than most, but I think guys would have killed for me. And I don't want to say this braggingly, but I think guys enjoyed playing with me a lot. Mm-hmm. In days when they didn't feel like having fun at practice, they had no choice, because Favre is going to come slap me on the ass and say, "Let's go, let's have a good practice." And I just had to have a good practice. And so those are the moments when I think back and people say, "Do you miss playing?" No, I don't miss playing, but I miss those moments, those moments with your teammates on the bus or on the practice field or in the locker room, or it never is like, when I think back of fond memories, it's not 3rd and 15 and what are we going to call, and maybe we made it, maybe we didn't. It's more some laughable moment that at the time seemed so ridiculous that you'd never remember it.
Perhaps even the remote control fart machine under Mike Holmgren's seat on the way to Soldier Field.
Could you tell the story? 20-year career. One of my favorite, fondest memories is that I say this braggingly, had a fart machine and had 4 farts on it. Now, some of you may be cringing watching this, but people probably that tune into this podcast, or people like us, we're losers, okay? So I had a fart machine with a remote control, and there was a guy who Peter does know, who's passed away now, Lee Rimmel.
Yeah.
Leland J. Rimmel. He was the PR director, longtime PR director for the Packers. And I loved him to death. He was an
old-time Packer guy, man.
Dry guy.
Yeah.
Lee, how you doing today? I'm doing most certainly well. Oh, great, Lee. What a weird dude. But I loved him. Am I right?
Yeah.
You
were great with Lee
So
Rimmel.
he was a perfect person to pull this prank on. So we played the Chicago Bears on Monday Night Football, Halloween night. It was awful, awful weather. We're loading the first bus to go over to the stadium. And I always sat with our strength coach, who was the best man at my wedding, Kent Johnson, great guy, from Mahia, Texas. And I sat down by him, Lee always came in. He set a couple of seats up from us, and Holmgren always sat in the very front right. Nobody ever said a word on the bus, which was perfect. No one needed to say a word. So Lee puts his bag under his seat. I slipped that remote control module deal thing right on top of his bag, and I show Kent the remote control, and he's trying his best not to laugh. And so we're going over to Soldier Field. The wind's howling, it's raining, and I hit that machine, and you hear, and you could literally hear a pin drop for a lot of reasons. The first and foremost was that Lee Rimmel's got the farts and he doesn't know it. So I hit fart number 2 and it's like, and all I remember is Kent Johnson beside me laughing like Peter's laughing. But Mike Holmgren was sitting in the front right and he's doing this. He was laughing so hard, but it was all he could. And honestly, I'm not sure if he thought we were playing a joke on him or if he really had the farts and didn't know it. But it was the funniest damn thing ever. And Lee Rimmel never acknowledged. I did it probably 8 times. And finally, it was like everybody was just dying laughing. We got a big game. We're playing the Bears. And Holmgren, I think at that point, that was probably 95 or 96. So, it was, I'd kind of earned my stripes, I guess. I could have a remote control fart machine. It was like, he's probably like, Favre, I know he knows the game plan. I'm not worried about him. He's loosening our guys up. This is friggin' hilarious. So that was what it was like in our locker room.
So we'll end with this. I think everybody would love to know what a day in the life of Brett Favre is like now at age 50. What do you do all day? What do you do when you wake up in the morning?
There's about 2 or 3 guys that I'm an early riser. Yeah. And you probably...
What time? 5:30?
5:30. I'd love to sleep in sometimes.
But you can't.
I can't.
Yeah.
Deanna's like, won't you just sleep in? Let's watch a movie.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm up at 5:30, and I've tried to go back to sleep sometimes. I get up, and the first thing I always do is I eat yogurt.
What kind?
It's Maple Hill. It's like I'm addicted to it right now, and it's strawberry flavored Maple Hill.
All right.
In fact, I like it so much, the guy at the local corner market, our grocery store, will send me a text when a new shipment arrives, and I'll buy it in bulk because I don't want it to run out. And I'll have one of those with really it's just a regular granola. Nothing, no like almond.
So that's breakfast?
No, that's...
The precursor to breakfast.
Precursor. So I do that. Sometimes I'll go back and lay down, but usually about 6:30 or so I'm up for good. Deanna's got me here recently, within the last few months. We say, if she doesn't get up in time, we'll say the rosary together. We're born and raised Catholic, and so I'll do that, and that takes 30 minutes. And then there's a few guys that are like me. Breakfast is a big part of my day. I don't go without eating breakfast. So there's 2 places, and I eat at both places, Southmouth and Midtowner. We'll take turns buying breakfast. Some days I get blueberry pancakes. Some days I get an omelet. Some days I get oatmeal. And we'll just, talk about what's going on. And then I usually come, on occasion I'll go hit golf balls early before it gets too hot. Hit for 45 minutes or something. It's
pretty hot in Hattiesburg.
It's very hot. To say at 8 o'clock it's cool, 88 and humid, that's cool. I'm dripping wet, but I'll hit golf balls, and then I come out here and I'm doing something. Cutting grass.
Trying to outfox the beavers.
Try to outfox beavers.
Try not to get eaten up by
wild hogs or snakes.
You got wild hogs out here.
Got wild hogs.
What kind of snakes?
Rattlesnakes, moccasins, and copperheads.
Have you ever almost gotten bitten by a snake?
Yeah.
Wow.
You know, I grew up on the bayou.
Yeah.
And when a hurricane would hit, and they hit here all the time, some bad, some not so bad, but they'll knock the power out for a couple of days. Growing up, when the power would go out, we had no hot water. So we would shower. It's not a shower. We would jump actually in the lake or the river with an inner tube and a bar of soap. Now, this is the same river. We wasn't playing with a full deck. This is the same river that we would see gators all the time in.
Wow.
So,
it's good you're still here.
Now, I look back and I go, what the hell were we thinking? You know, it's like now with your kids, you're like, oh, don't go do that. And you think, they only knew what I did.
But you're also very fit, so you ride a bike a lot too.
Yeah, I try to ride about, I average about 110 to 120 miles a week.
Wow.
I do a couple of days usually. Like Deanna and I rode 27 miles 2 days ago. Just, go, you know, some of the back roads, some of the main roads, just depending on what time. And when she got me a bike about 11, 12 years ago, is one of those bikes you pick up with one finger.
Yeah.
I said, what am I going to do with that? She said, well, we can go biking together. I'm like, don't be ridiculous. I'm not biking. I said, how far do you go? She said, not 25 miles. I said, are you crazy? 25, one time, like one day. And lo and behold, she said, if you start getting into it, you won't waste your time for anything less than, and she's right. First couple of times I went like 3 miles in, I'm like, all right, let's turn around and go back. And so, I mean, I'm thankful that she talked me into it, because I love to jog, but not when it's 98 and humid. Right. You know, so in the winter I'll jog a little bit, and if my body feels okay. I ran a half marathon last year with Breeley, our youngest daughter, and I mean, she said, Dad, I think I'm gonna sign up for a half marathon. Will you do it with me? What are you supposed to say? I'm not doing it. I said, of course I'll do it. So, yeah, so I try to stay as in shape as possible. I mean, there's only so much we can do.
I want to ask you, I said that was it, but I want to ask you one other thing, because I think you would really appreciate giving an answer. I saw Sam Darnold in the summer, and the Jets quarterback, and he said, hey, Peter, he said, every time you have a quarterback on your podcast, I listen, because I love to hear them talk about football. So if you had any advice for Sam Darnold, the 22-year-old second-year quarterback of the New York Jets, if he was sitting here right now, what would you say to Sam, career advice?
I would say, not only to Sam, but I think about this often, for any young, whether he's high draft pick or no draft, but a guy who is playing or on the verge of playing as a young player. Darnold obviously has the talent, no question. Mahomes, no question he's got the talent, and so on and so forth. And we could go on down the line. But one thing I'll back up. When I coached high school football, obviously a much different level. But I felt like where I really made an impact with those guys, not so much because I was, a genius in the coaching world. I was able to teach those kids. Some got it quicker than others, but I was able to teach them with video and from a knowledge standpoint, something that they otherwise wouldn't have gotten. No disrespect to any of the other high school coaches, my dad included. But I was exposed to a lot of stuff and trial and error throughout my career. I mean, in year 5, I was not near as wise as I was in year 18.
Right.
And maybe in year 5, I was a much better athlete. But I offset that by mentally understanding the game, and my deal was more, I had to endure a long time because I had so much to gain because I was just not exposed to so much. But I remember Andy Reid telling me one time when he became my coach, and this really kind of kick-started. He said, I can teach you in 5 minutes what you probably couldn't get in 3 or 4 hours. I think, well, I'll buy that. What is it? He said, when you watch film, you end up, like most people, you're watching a game. And that's true. Like, oh, did you see that tackle? And that's okay, but he said, one guy usually will tip off to you what everyone's doing. And he's right. Sometimes it's a little harder to find that key, but if you know what you're looking for and how to look for it, 15 minutes of film, you can get, I shouldn't even say 4 hours of film, because if you don't know what you're looking for, you can just watch forever and go, okay, I saw him play. And so I would tell Sam, find that key. Become an 18-year veteran now. And how you do that, I'm sure there's a lot of different ways, but go to your coach and figure out ways to, I don't want to say cheat, but get an edge. And I could have been really good had I known that, in year 2 and 3 and 4, instead of just tunnel vision. One of the fun things.
When do you think you first learned that, though?
Well, it started when Andy took over as my coach.
What year was that? I'm trying to remember now.
94. No, excuse me, 95.
I bet it was 96 because it didn't marry.
Mooch was there 3. 92, 93, 94.
Yeah, okay.
So Andy, one of the first things Andy said to me, Andy said, I'm not going to teach you anything about playing quarterback. I played tackle. I was Jim McMahon's I was his left tackle in college. He said, let's just get that out of the way right away, because I know what you're thinking. What in the hell is Andy Reid going to teach me about drops or mechanics? And he's right. But Andy was a great, as you know, as everyone knows, especially people who know Andy directly, in a very simple way, he is a genius. How his approach, how simple things he can make them seem in what would seem like a very complicated profession. He was able to simplify it. He's like, okay, and one of the first times that I ever remember it making sense to him, he's like, the Buccaneers just started getting good, and we'll have to go back in our Rolodex here. Brad Culpepper was the nose tackle.
Yeah.
As you remember.
Oh,
They had Sapp, but no one knew Sapp like you would know him later. They had Lynch. No one would know Lynch. I didn't know Lynch at the time like they would know him later. Hall of Fame guys. So they were young and still pretty much doing as they were coached. Those are the ones that you can pick up on. Because you got Urlacher in the latter stages of his career. He's going, if you go off of, he's blitzing, because he's wanting you to think he's going to blitz. He's not going to blitz. He wants you to think that. But if it's a guy who's coached right out of the, I want your ass tilt nose, and I don't, well, coach, that tells the offense that we're coming with a strong dog and I'm going to peel across. You do it the way I tell you to do it. Find that guy. And Andy said when Culpepper's tilted, they're running a strong dog. So they're bringing the 2 linebackers a strong side. And he was right. Well, what happens is when teams or players get seasoned and a more experienced, they don't tilt anymore. They wait till the last second, or they tilt the other way. So find the guy who's doing it exactly like he's coached. Maybe it's the new rookie corner in a Chicago Bear scheme that's very simple, but with 10 other guys that have been doing it for a long time. That rookie guy is going to play cover 2 exactly like they ask.
Yeah.
Until you earn your stripes before you start disguising coverage. Find that guy. So that's what Andy was able to do.
Good advice for Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, listen, Brett, thank you so much, and happy birthday, and have about 50 more.
When are we doing this again? We can't wait.
Well, let's do it every 10 years. So when you're 60, I'll come back. How about that? Earlier?
May have to do it earlier.
Earlier, okay. All right.
I may not remember who you are.
55. I think you probably will remember who I am. But anyway, thanks a lot.
Yeah.
And it's been fun.
It has been fun.
You know, since we've mentioned Johnny Manziel today, we may as well mention Brett Favre today. Here he is at age 47. He's still got it. He's in great shape, and there he is firing passes. It all started while Falcons cornerback Robert Alford was doing some workouts, and I guess it's fitting that Favre would be throwing passes to a cornerback since he's the all-time leading. I don't even need to finish that one, do I?
That's not bad.
Yeah, well, hey, you know, I can't let a Brett Favre reference go without it's just too much fun. Although one of the more intriguing, entertaining, fascinating figures in NFL history. I read his biography, unauthorized biography from Jeff Pearlman during the football season, and there's a lot of stuff in there. It is well worth your time. You learn a lot about Brett Favre, and he is a very, very unique character. And at age 47, I think George Blanda was 46. Tom Brady will make it to 46. That continues to be. And look, where's all the talk about Jimmy Garoppolo being traded? It's not going to happen. I mean, maybe the Patriots have something up their sleeve they're going to try to pull at the league meetings. They know that the clock is ticking, and when it goes, it goes. And I remember how Bill Parcells explained Lawrence Taylor's end-of-career decision. All of a sudden, everybody seems faster. Everybody seems stronger. You're the same, but everybody else is different. That's when you know it's over. That's when you know that you have changed, and everybody else is younger and faster and healthier than you. Stats is telling me George Blanda still played at age 48. So there's hope for Brett Favre. Bring him back. Hey, look around. Look, we talk about Colin Kaepernick being unemployed. How in the hell has no one called Brett Favre over the past few years, the quality of the cornerbacks that we've seen? So
that's why there's videos there.
I'll tell you what. You see guys, when they quit playing, they go one way or the other. And some of these guys end up all doughy and out of shape. And Favre he's been jacked, and he's working out, and he's throwing passes. And he looks in better shape now than he was when he was playing. All right, we got to take a break. When we return, my overtime idea, and I'm still going to push it with the NFL. Back after this.
This is your Yahoo Sports Mad Dash. I'm Jenna Corrado. Brett Favre had many memorable moments during his football career, but also unforgettable was his Hollywood cameo as the ex-boyfriend Cameron Diaz couldn't seem to shake, and there was something about Mary. However, it turns out that Favre wasn't the first or even the second choice. With the movie released in 1998, the Farrelly brothers originally wanted quarterback star Drew Bledsoe, who was then of the New England Patriots. Bledsoe declined, so next on the list was Steve Young, but he also turned down the role because of his Mormon upbringing. And that left us with Brett Favre, the backup to the backup. Ouch. Favre told Rich Eisen on Wednesday that had he known he was the third choice, he never would have said yes. Oh, come on, Favre, you're a better sport than that. A few weeks ago, we showed you footage of a student earning a year's tuition by making a layup, free throw, three-pointer, and half-court shot unassisted. Well, he has to feel shortchanged right about now, since Drake student Alex Tillinghast accomplished the same feat but had someone rebounding for him. And he won a freaking brand new truck. It didn't seem possible based on his early shots. Honestly, he appeared to be slightly unathletic, but he somehow pulled it off, and we couldn't be happier for him. However, we're guessing the car dealer is a little irked and agreed to let someone give him a hand under the net. And finally, when Tulane lineman Sean Donnelly and Tanzel Smart got into a scuffle in practice, head coach Curtis Johnson didn't discipline his guys or make them run until they collapsed. Nope, he had a much more creative punishment. He made them hold hands after practice. The best kind of disciplinary action we've seen yet. And that is your Yahoo Sports Mad Dash.
That man right there, number 4, Brett Favre. They're going to give Brett Favre a chance.
Going to complete, if he throws, his first NFL completion, and it's to himself.
This is what's going to make Brett Favre a good player. See, he never stopped. Very competitive. He doesn't want to go down.
To be a gunslinger, you have to look the part. Brett Favre looks.
And he gave you so many of those where he's throwing the ball backwards or shot putting it.
What a play by Brett Favre.
Atlanta has selected Brett Favre, quarterback, Southern Mississippi.
I was a traveling roadshow in Atlanta.
Mississippi, you're not going to play tonight?
From the get-go, Jerry Glanville, he had it out for me. I was like, I don't know how, I don't know where, I don't know when, but I will prove this guy wrong.
It was not going good for the old Packers at that time. We were 0-2, and our starting quarterback is laying in a pile on the field.
It was the third game of the year playing Cincinnati. Don Mikowski was the starter.
And Mikowski is down and hurting, Max. He is hurting.
Mike Holmgren said to me, "Steve, get Brett ready." I went, "Oh, geez, is he ready?" And I went, "Yep."
And here's second-year quarterback Brett Favre out of Southern Mississippi by way of the Atlanta Falcons. They are hopeful he can succeed in the NFL. Favre completes in the flat to Sterling Sharp. Then it in motion. Favre throws down the middle and has a touchdown to Sterling Sharp.
You still got a chance. If you score a touchdown and an extra point, you could win it 24-23.
We get the ball back with a minute to go in the game at 80 yards, and he threw 3 of the most beautiful passes I'll ever see in my life.
7 left. Ball is at the 8-yard line. Here, Brett Favre, you want a challenge? Try this one. And Favre completes on first down to Harry Sidney, who gets a little running room. Favre unlooshes it and gets it to Sterling Sharp. But with their best receiver out of the game, from the 35, 19 seconds left. Favre pumps, throws, touchdown! That was an excellent throw by Brett Favre, and he knew that he pulled the trigger on that one. Is there a spark of life in Green Bay?
And the fans got a real taste that day about what his career was going to be like.
The gunslinger's a guy who's going to throw the ball where he probably shouldn't.
There were times where that arm strength would fit it in there between linebackers. He believed that he could always get it in there.
It's the classic no, 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 yes.
That happened with Brett often.
He flips it into the end zone. Touchdown, Green Bay.
Now, you all right? Yeah. No more rocket balls, please. Well, I was chained up. No, I know.
Green Bay from their own 24. Up, going deep. He is there. It is Sharp to the 20.
It's a secondary. Favre looks that way. Comes back. Touchdown. Sterling Sharp.
He will be able to, with the strong arm, stick it in.
Favre gets time. Fires. Beautiful catch by Sharp for the touchdown.
That's a mismatch, and the ball is thrown right where it has to, and as hard as he can throw it. Wham! Right down the pipe.
On a quick snap, second down. Favre with daylight and time goes for the whole thing. Touchdown! Green Bay leads. Brett Favre.
That play was designed for a 10 to 12 yard gain and hopefully a clock stoppage. Now keep in mind, if we win this game, we get $8,000 bonuses. We got to have this game. Do not scramble. Do you understand? Do you understand? Yes, yes. The first thing he does, he drops back to pass. Off he goes. And he threw the ball against the grain for a 60-yard touchdown pass. Thank God for Brett Favre. We got a new screen in the porch because of that play.
Third and long 2 from the 36-yard line. And Favre on a roll. He's going to run it for a first down. And Brett Favre takes off. It's inside the 20, inside the 10, and dives in on Cunningham for the touchdown. The Bears are in trouble. What a great play by Brett Favre, who still hasn't completed a pass, and who cares?
Favre to throw it. Comes out of the pocket and wins it deep. Touchdown.
Third and 10 from the 1. Favre, pump fake, going deep. Man open at the 30. It's Robert Brooks. Goodbye. And Robert Brooks is inside the 30 and going all the way in for a touchdown. And 98, isn't it? And he makes Donnell Wolford float.
Favre. Touchdown. Favre back across his body. 11-yard touchdown pass.
Part of what separates him is the fact that that guy took such a beating.
You know, he's a big, strong guy, but you can't have that, just that. He has a mental toughness and an ability to overcome things that is rare. He hurt his ankle. He couldn't practice all week. And then on Sunday, he said, I think I can go on this.
He lined up and played and threw 5 touchdown passes against the Bears.
Favre with a short drop. Pass is caught by Brooks, and he's going to score, and the Packers lead. The 1. There's a toss to Levin's touchdown Packers from the Bear 44-yard line. Here comes the blitz. It's picked up, and down is Brooks. And Brooks is going to score, and the Packers may tie the game. This is unbelievable. Reverse to Bennett on the screen play, 5 yards, touchdown, Green Bay.
And now they're grabbing on Brett Favre, number 38, as I mentioned. Dan Marino with 44. Coming up. Favre's going to throw it.
Made the catch. Favre makes a great throw.
Levens is in motion out of the backfield. Favre, he can run it if he wants to, but he has a shovel pass and it's a touchdown! Antonio Freeman. How did Brett Favre do what he just did?
I don't believe it.
Incredible.
That guy's just a wizard.
Well, we finally come full cycle. The Green Bay Packers are back in the Super Bowl after an absence of 29 years.
It was so weird sitting in that hotel room. That day they kept showing the 49ers playing Denver in the Super Bowl over and over and over again. And they keep showing Joe Montana checking to 59 Razor.
Black 59 Razor! Black 59 Razor!
Well, lo and behold, they're giving us the look that would be a good time to check the Razor. So I'd take a gamble and check to it.
Set up for the Packers and Favre back to throw his first run. Going deep, has a man open. Andre Rison.
I think old Brett called the exact right audible for the situation there.
There's Favre. Antonio Freeman, they're not going to catch him. Touchdown, Green Bay, as the Packers recapture the lead. First and goal, here's Favre. Morgan and Favre pushed. One official said he did get in. Yes, he thinks he did. And it looked like the ball was inside the pylon.
And now, baby, it's over. The Vince Lombardi Trophy is coming home where it started.
It looks like he's calling an audible here. Touchdown. Brooks. What a story he's been, huh? star's all-time Packer record.
I got to see this. This Favre out here. Brett Favre.
He shook off that blitzing. Touchdown pass, number 3, the second to Antonio Freeman. 3 for Favre.
Game 13 as the Tennessee celebrates 13 in a row. The throw to Freeman. Is he in the end zone? Touchdown! Boy, Favre, what a job on the throw as he was being thrown backwards. Finds Freeman for the score.
We really built our defense around stopping Green Bay in the 90s.
Who can throw it better than Brett Favre?
Brett was the toughest matchup we ever had to face.
Holy cow!
Who wouldn't love Brett Favre at his peak? The country boy who was just an average, normal guy who struck career gold.
The MVP, the big cheese of QBs, Brett Favre.
I don't know that he realized how big it would be once he made it to the NFL and the celebrities.
2 tight ends set up this time for Green Bay. They go for the fade. Tyrone Davis touchdown.
And they didn't learn that. The thing that Mike Holmgren was worried, every time we put Tyrone Davis in,
Favre will throw on first down. And has a man, and he's gone. That's Antonio Freeman. 80 yards. Favre to Freeman. Favre scrambling. Pulls up, goes deep, got a man. Freeman wide open. Antonio Freeman. Foot race. Touchdown. Mike Franklin back up center. Here's the tight end. Here's Freeman. In for the touchdown. His third. Favre's third. Davis in motion. Favre fires it. Touchdown. Antonio Freeman. Down in the last preseason game, and it was a bet. The challenge. Here's Favre in the end zone. Caught. Touchdown.
Here's the blitz. Favre for the end zone, flag down, touchdown to Freeman. Holy cow!
Favre, a little shovel. He underhands it to Green for a touchdown. Favre lays it up for Freeman, and it's incomplete. Or did he make the catch at the 15? Yes. What are they going to rule it? He caught it? Touchdown! He did what?
It hit the back of Antonio Freeman. Right on the left arm, bring the ball up in the air, and he plays on the 6 inches off the grass. Unbelievable awareness.
I don't know how you don't love a guy like this. He's what epitomizes the sport.
Most overrated quarterback in the history of football.
Players that you love to hate, you hate them because they're so good.
I mean, you talk about a guy who is so ego-soaked, and you grow to hate somebody that beats you time and time and time again.
He played with a reckless abandonment at times. I think that's kind of a love-hate relationship there. You love it when he fits into a tight spot. You're frustrated if he throws into triple coverage and something bad happens.
Pass is caught by Driver, and he scampers into the end zone.
Head coach, 24-12 is his record. Favre on a roll to his left, directing traffic, going very deep for Driver, who gets out in front, and he's going to go all the way. Donald Driver, 85 yards from Brett Favre.
Third down, and there is Donald Driver wide open, and Driver in a foot race. He has glove blocking. Driver will go all the way and score. No flags are down. 84 yards, and Brett Favre has found his latest favorite receiver, Donald Driver.
Blitz coming. Favre escapes. What a throw! Complete down to the 15-yard line. Ferguson again.
Touchdown.
What a play by Favre. Are you kidding?
You know, Coach called and said, Miss Favre will do whatever you want. He can come home. I said, oh no, his dad would really have a fit if he didn't play in the game.
How Brett Favre is going to be able to handle this, I have no idea.
He knows when to be business, and he knows when to play.
I was so worried that I would lay an egg in that game. And I think people watching would say, hey, it's understandable. His father just passed away. I didn't want that. I wanted to leave that game and be proud of the way I played and want him to say, hey, you know, you played well.
Favre takes, looks to throw. Guns the left side of the end zone, and it's diving grab, caught in the corner of the end zone. Touchdown, Green Bay! Because of the unsuccessful challenge, and Favre going deep into double coverage, and it is caught by Javon Walker in front of 2 Raiders for a touchdown. 43 yards and a 254-yard first quarter and a half.
I knew my dad would want me to play, and you know I love him so much and love this game. It's been a great deal to me, to my dad, and to my family, and I didn't expect this type of performance, but I know he was watching tonight.
On second down, the play fake, plenty of time for Favre, deep for Robert Ferguson, touchdown! What an answer by Favre and the Packers! Javon Walker is back in the lineup for Green Bay. Favre looks for Franks. Touchdown, Green Bay. For the end zone. Oh, what a catch. Touchdown, Donald Driver. Oh, what a throw. Oh, what a play. Over the middle, the pass is caught for the touchdown. It's Donald Driver.
He has been terrific.
Terrific. Good move there by Mark. He turned him around. Play action. Plenty of time. Favre might run himself. Touchdown, Packers. The first rushing touchdown of the year for Brett Favre. And look, he's going to take his own lead.
Favre over the middle to Driver. Donald Driver breaks free. Inside the 30. To the end zone for the touchdown, 82 yards.
That is some lethal combination between those two.
Focus clearly on Brett Favre right now.
Brett Favre is going to get carried off the field.
This could very well be his last game.
I miss these guys and miss the game.
When do you think you'll make your decision?
Soon.
Got a man wide open, and he's off to the races. He's going to get the touchdown right here. Greg Jennings. Green Bay takes the lead, and Favre joins Marino in the history books.
Play clock running low. Favre trying to check it off. Looking at the slant. He's got it. There it is. The record. Greg Jennings. And Brett Favre is the all-time touchdown pass leader.
Hey, Brett, it's Dan Marino. I'd like to take a minute to congratulate you on breaking one of the great records in sports. I loved holding the touchdown record for the past 13 years, but if someone was going to break it, I'm glad it was someone like you.
Play action from the 18. Want it all? Deep down the field. It is hold in by Greg Jennings. The Packers win in overtime. Unbelievable.
From the 38. And Favre's pass is caught by Donald Driver, and there it is. Brett Favre has now passed for more yards in his career than any other quarterback in National Football League history. Goal, Morency in the backfield. Favre lobbing it into the end zone, and the catch is made for a touchdown. The Packers have their first lead of the game.
That's unbelievable runs by Brett Favre, laying that ball up perfect. Starting at their own 10. And here is Driver behind the defense. Foot race. Down the sideline, still going. Donald Driver for the touchdown. No flags. Blitz coming from the Giants. Favre looking for Driver, and it's picked off. Intercepted by Webster. Corey Webster with the interception.
Man, we came close. We came really close. I hate to even think about it.
I don't know what I'm leaning towards. For the last 7 years, we've been talking about when I was leaving. Something's got to give at some point. Either I decide or they do.
I was thinking, what the heck happened here? 2 days ago, I was like, I don't know. Here I am now,
thanking everyone and how tough it is to, what's going on? It's been a great relationship.
The Brett Favre retirement watch is over.
I am officially retiring.
News breaking on Wednesday that Favre was considering a comeback.
Brett, the Jet, the Big Apple, buzzing.
I'm not a trader, never will be. It's business. I've always wanted to be a Packer. I think I always will be a Packer.
Great play action fake. Favre going long for Cotchery. Cotchery hauls it in at the 10, and he is in for the touchdown.
3rd down and goal on the 10th play of this drive. Brett Favre stepping up, drills it, touchdown. 1st and goal, and there is a fade pattern, and Coles has it for the touchdown. Pump fake, Favre, wide open, touchdown. They're going to run it, and no, they're going to pass it, wide open, and a touchdown to Cotchery.
Favre, near sideline, caught for a touchdown. 9, Favre, slant, Cotchery, reaching for the goal line, touchdown is the signal.
And Brett Favre was nearly perfect tonight.
Brett Favre announcing he plans to retire from football after 18 seasons.
Brett Favre's agent, he said this time it is, quote unquote, for good.
The Vikings' future just landed in the Twin Cities.
It's just like a knife in your back, it's hard to take. If any other team, we were fine with the Jets, but not the Vikings, and hard to swallow.
Green Bay fans are really angry. I mean, really angry.
We needed 3 hearses because one to carry Brett's body, one to carry Brett's ego, and another to carry Brett away from here in case he changed his mind and decided he didn't want to be dead after all.
I wanted to play for anyone who would play the Packers. Minnesota played them twice.
Favre rolls. Wants to throw deep and does. To the end zone for Greg Lewis. Touchdown! Touchdown! Favre did it!
11, Packers bring Woodson off the corner. Favre throws, touchdown, Sidney Rice.
He finds Dugan down the field.
And now takes a quick shot. Barbarian!
Brett Favre has disoriented the Packers.
Favre to throw. Unbelievable protection. Throws into traffic. The catch made by Harvin. He cuts it back the other way and into the end zone. Touchdown, Percy Harvin. Favre, a short drop. Catch is made and close to the end zone. Touchdown, Bernard Berrian. They don't have to bring extra people.
Favre lets it go downfield. Pass caught. Touchdown. Later on 4th down, play action. Favre, end zone. Schenko. How about another? Touchdown, Vikings. Favre sprints to his right, throws back across the middle, and he's intercepted.
And Porter there to make the interception, and Favre knows he made a huge mistake.
Favre firing downfield, and the catch is made. 2nd and 16. Favre steps up, throws, and it's caught. 3rd down and 6. Favre fires downfield. Touchdown! Asante Schenko!
And Ryan Longwell has done it! The Vikings have defeated the Arizona Cardinals in overtime. And what a day by the quarterback, Brett Favre. No question about it.
These fans poured their heart and soul into Brett Favre. For what he did over the course of 16 years, he deserves a night like tomorrow night. Absolutely he deserves a night like he's going to get Thursday in November.
Time will cure all wounds, and guess what? It has cured all wounds.
It's great to see the legacy of one of our greatest players restored to its full legacy.
Who would have ever thought that a young man from Kill, Mississippi would hold every passing record in NFL history at one time?
Ladies and gentlemen,